So this area in Halo 3 has never been explored. And the reason for that is pretty simple. No one has found a way to get to this area. So can I? Let's give it a shot! So the unexplored area that we'll be covering is just outside of the forest on the mission Sierra 117. Now this forest is located in the second part of the mission, just after you encounter all the phantoms. If you go up this winding path, you'll eventually encounter this brute that's playing with a marine. But just outside of this inconspicuous section lies a very large area outside of the map. An area that you can't even really see from inside of the map. In addition to this, the map barrier ceiling is pretty low. And although I looked, I couldn't find a single instance of anybody getting outside of this specific area ever. And believe me, I looked everywhere. And I bet most people just figured there wasn't really much to explore outside of this. But boy, were they wrong. So, just like last week, if you watched, this is another one of those tricks that I'm just going in completely blind. Okay, how are we going to do this? No idea. This is an allegory for life. The best thing to do if you're not sure what to do is start. So we started up the mission, played through to this section, and now it was time to find what tools we could potentially use to get out of the map, or if there were any vulnerabilities. You can see, like, in the distance if you look. It's pretty big. Yo, is there a brute with a brute shot up here?
Yo, don't be saying yo to me, dude. I'm not your dog.
So our main idea was to somehow be able to blast past the elastic barrier on the ceiling, but to do that, we would need a lot of force. So my first objective was looking to see if I could find a brute shot that I could use for this. But in looking for this, I noticed that there were some plasma batteries that I could use for an explosion. That's pretty much the only time.
You're from the country. You don't get to say yo.
Dude, I'm gangster. I'm a gangsta.
You're a ghetto gangster.
I didn't want to have to use the hard R there, you know what I mean?
Fine, I'll do it. Gangster.
Gangster. So I checked out this little cubby and I found that it might be an ideal spot for a launch because the map ceiling seemed to be somewhat high for it. Dude, I almost thought you could just straight up walk out of this part. Now, because there were 2 Covenant space crates just below me, I had an idea. If I pushed all the plasma batteries into this corner and then hit this box on top of it, maybe I could stand on top of the box and get enough force that I'd pop right past the elastic barrier. Okay, I don't think we have any tools to like boost out of here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push these plasma batteries and see if we can blast out of this section over here. So let's see if we can blast some trend. Blast some contrannulation.
You're not trend you blast, you're always gonna be weak.
Whoa! What the You're just hiding back there, dude. Look at that. Spike right in the plasma battery and didn't even affect it. So in total, there are only 3 plasma batteries in this section of the mission. So this amount was going to have to get us enough force to get through the map barrier, or else we were basically toast. I got these 3 set up all touching each other. Now I just needed to launch the crate using a grenade on top of these. Okay, I'm going to try to hit this.
It's not worth responding to someone so stupid.
Who, me?
No, your brother.
That's you.
The shit show. Wait, sorry, that's you.
It's not the shit show, and I just destroyed the entire setup. As I was saying, it's not the
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Shut up, dude! So because these blew up, we had to set this up again.
Any good thing you have is gone.
Let me just push this for you because I know you can't talk and do this at the same time.
I was just doing it, but whatever.
Barely. But look at how fast I am, though.
Wow, you're so good. Wow, everyone thinks you're great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You mean that?
Yes, I definitely mean that.
The Covenant. Wow, that actually worked out. Holy shit. Sweet. Okay. I guess go forward and see if you can get a little checkpoint there, bud.
Bud? Who do you think I am?
You're my little bro.
Your slave?
You're my little bro. You are a Kirby user in Super Smash 64, dude. You are a Kirby user. Now that we had this set up, all I had to do was send my brother forward to get a checkpoint. And while standing on top of the crate, I would use the BR to shoot at the plasma batteries to create a chain reaction.
Where did we even go?
You're going the wrong way. This guy, anytime we play this mission, he's like, dude, I played this mission 50 trillion times. Still can't remember where to go. So after my brother finally got the checkpoint, it was time to test this baby out. Whoa, finally got a blast. Yeah, it's pretty big out there. It took a while, but this blast was the first time that I had my body exit the map barrier. Now, I was dead, but at least I knew it was hypothetically possible. Now, I would just need to live.
You owe me for half a fifth of bourbon.
Dude, you owe me so much money.
I don't. I would never drink your liquor. Ever.
Dude, you literally fucking made me buy a $25 12-pack because you wanted to take one sip of one of them.
I did not make you do it.
And he got a risky flavor. He got a risky flavor, everyone. It was the Corona orange, Corona extra orange or whatever. It was okay.
Sam,
I'll admit it was okay.
Know that I drank one beer. You knew that.
And when we were at the store, you were insistent that I got that one and not one that I wanted. You were insistent, and you only had one freaking beer and you didn't even pay for it.
Who drank the 11 beers?
I had no choice.
Exactly. So quit crying about it. You drank 99% of them.
I think your math's a little off there, buddy.
98% of them, dude.
That's still not close. Why don't you do 11 and 12 on a calculator right now?
It was 91%.
What?
92%.
Did I just make it across? Did I actually make it out at this part? I can't move. I'm like convulsing. Like I can't.
Let's get your
Dude, look, I'm technically out of the map, but I'm not actually.
Sorry, dude. I'm busy arguing people on Twitter. Stop.
Guess I can't move. So weirdly, I was able to get outside of the map. But when I was in this part of the map, I couldn't move at all. So either I had to keep trying this or find another solution. Yeah, like I'm kind of getting out of the map, but it's not like... I'm not actually getting out of the map. I decided to push on with this method despite my lack of success because it might be one of those tricks that just takes a long time to land. I didn't want to give up quite yet, but I was getting to the point where if this went on much longer, and it's like really hard for me to survive, I was going to start looking for other solutions. Anything else you want to argue about? You're cheap because you use Toad every time in Mario Kart, and he's the fastest.
There's no proof that Toad moves faster.
Toad is the fastest racer in Mario Kart, dude. Everyone knows this. It's been established since childhood. It's ingrained into every child's mind.
Listen, dude, you played Yoshi because you're in hard dinosaurs like an autistic kid. Yeah, nothing to say that, do you?
I played Yoshi because of how his kart handles and how he isn't afraid.
You played Yoshi
of the open road.
You're a furry and you want to be a dinosaur.
Says who, dude?
Yoshi speaks for himself.
You picked someone that literally looks like a cock.
Why would you bring about cock? I see a mushroom on some guy's head, and you think it's a cock. That's kind of gay. You're not beating the charges.
You're not beating the charges. You love the shape so much that you dedicated yourself to that character specifically.
Listen, dude. You play a gay dinosaur. Don't start with me.
Yoshi's not gay.
How'd you know?
How would you know? Because you're the one that's saying Yoshi is gay.
Hit on him and he found out he's not interested in you?
You're the one saying Yoshi's gay, dude. Yoshi is not gay.
How do you know?
Canonically.
Prove it. Cite your sources.
You're the one that said he was gay, so you have to prove your sources.
You're asserting that he's not sources? You're asserting that he's not gay.
Yes.
You need to prove that.
Cite your source.
Listen, dude, you've been drinking too much. You're slurring your words.
I haven't been drinking at all, dude.
Dude, I haven't drinking 5 minutes. I'm not an alcoholic.
I haven't been drinking at all.
What's the point?
I don't know if this section is going to work for this. After about 25 minutes of doing this, it just was not working. I got out of the map once, but I wasn't even really out of the map, so it was back to the drawing board. But I did have another idea. So normally in lengthy missions, Bungie would put a rock or another object at the entrance to a previous section. This was to prevent so many assets on the entire map from being loaded so that you could go into larger parts of the mission and load more assets. But oftentimes when they put up these objects or barriers to this previous section, it changes the structure of the map barrier. And my hope was that if they loaded a rock or something to block off the section, maybe there would be a hole in the ceiling and they just didn't expect anybody to go back and check. I'm gonna see if going forward in the mission deloads, like if I can't get access back to this, because maybe we can just like find a way around. So before I went forward in the mission to test to see if a rock was pasted over this previous entrance, I set up the crate the same way that I set it up before. In case this did work, I wanted to have a setup. I knew I'd get a checkpoint going forward. If you had a quandary of whether I had to eat a shit pie but it's my own shit, or if I had to eat a booger pie but it's other people's boogers, I would pick the pie every time, dude. So after getting all these explosive batteries set up next to each other and in a close formation, I was able to pretty quickly get this crate on top of all of them. I jumped on top of it and I made my brother push forward in the mission. Now was the moment of truth. Would a rock load here and would the map barrier have a hole? When my brother proceeded forward on the winding path, however, I loaded forward, despite being in just the previous section. So from this point, I went slightly forward just past the bridge where the Brute is normally holding the Marine, cleared out a couple of enemies, and then headed back to the previous section to see if a rock blocked off the entrance. I'm trying to see if the game developers took the shortcut, and basically you can't go to the previous section of the mission because it's going to mess stuff up. So usually what they did is they just pasted a rock over wherever. And it looks like they did that here. But sometimes when they... Wait, it extends all the way over here. So maybe the map barrier is different. I decided to test this out, and while the first attempt was inconclusive, I did have this set up. However, my checkpoint forced me to walk back to this every single time. And on the second attempt, my theory became reality. And there's a hole there. But I went way too high. So there is a hole in that section of the ceiling. But unfortunately, I have to walk back every single time because I don't have a checkpoint. And I think if I go any further in the mission, I'm going to get the Cortana cutscene, and no one wants that. Holy shit.
Impossible.
So now that I knew that this was possible, all I needed to do was get enough power to get up on the mountainside, but not so much that I went flying 200 feet past it. The unfortunate part about this is every single attempt you see here is about 1 minute to set up. Okay, I think this setup is bad, so we probably have to set this up again, but we bet it's what time is it? It's 8:31 right now.
Yeah.
So we're not going to finish this today. So we gave up on the setup because it just wasn't getting us there. We set this up on a different day, and on my first attempt, this happened. We have to have all those first try. First try. Anyways, look at this. Look at this crazy area up here. But look at how beautiful it is up here, guys. I bet I am actually the first person to ever touch this without modding or using Acrophobia Skull. This place is freaking huge. Somebody went absolutely nuts with the bushes, though, dude.
All right, I'm gonna kill both of us.
You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to get to these rocks right here, where the jackal usually sits, and I was like, I want to be up there. And then nothing you can do will get you 3 feet across an elastic barrier. Dude, look at this crevice. So this area, like I've said a bunch of times, is pretty large. But one thing that is strange about this area is that even though you're outside of the map, you can't see the next section. You can't see any part of it, but it's connected to this section. So that begged the question, is it possible to get outside of the map on the next section too? So this naturally became our objective. I want to interview the dev who was responsible for this part of the mission, bro.
It's from the 70s, dude.
It's reminding me of my times as a young boy.
A young boy, scattered around the bush.
I managed to find a path by following the map barrier right along where we launched up initially. I kept following this path, and then I found that it did eventually connect to the next section. But there's a weird barrier that doesn't allow you to just walk there.
Yeah, well, that's... So.
The hell? Can I just walk to this? I decided to try to jump on this tree branch, and then my hope was to be able to jump to this next section. If I could do that, I would be out of the map at the next section too. Boom! New section unlocked, dude. It's even bushier than the last.
The bushioning.
Fuck, I fell immediately.
Oh, I mean, suck back in. Help me. Help me.
Give me flat. It makes me want to kill Marshall, dude.
Why?
Because all he fucking used it in Super Smash Bros. 64 was Kirby.
Oh.
So cheap.
Believe that? It is.
Like if you use Kirby in Smash Bros, you're a loser.
Anyways, all he ever did was just ground pound Kirby Rock. Bunch of bullshit.
Okay, I can cross this to get to the other side. That's pretty sweet. What the dude? Where do I even go? Where am I, bro? See, can you see me over here? I can see you oh, no, actually. What the hell?
No.
I just could see you guys. Now I can't. That's weird. Oh, I can just straight up jump over to the other side. That's cool. Going up. Going up. Ooh, new area unlocked. Wowza. Whew, it's a close one. So now I can see both areas at the same time.
Whoa.
It's insane the amount of bushes, bro. I can't see. Alex, you haven't read a book that was non-religious in your entire life. Other than Hank the Cowdog.
I read every Hank Cow Dog. That's a fact. Get your facts right. Every single one. And I read the Hardy Boys.
I said other than Hank the Cowdog.
Harry Potter? Hardy Boys?
Harry Potter.
The Tower series?
Whoa. Don't bring 9/11 into this.
The Hobbits? Read The Hobbits?
The Hobbit? What the hell is that? Are you talking about yourself?
No, that's your wife.
Okay. I'll tell her you said that.
Good. Because you don't have a wife. Because you're a loser.